you can stay very busy with digital and developing your growth strategy without getting the actual effect you need. So my view always is to go back to your financial growth goal. So be very specific with what you're trying to achieve in the next 12 months. Hello everybody, and welcome to the first of the live Digital Media Edge shows, the AskDME live show. This is streaming live on LinkedIn. We're also streaming onto YouTube and Twitter as well. And I shared a landing page we'd set up if you want to view this. So the aim of the shows really was this one certainly is an open forum just for us to answer any questions that you may have on business growth, any questions that you may have on lead generation, driving traffic, planning out a growth strategy for the business that's focused on digital lead generation, customer acquisition, your sales process, and of course, being a HubSpot partner, we're also happy to answer questions on setting up systems, analytics, metrics to measure that growth, and obviously generate reports back on the growth. So any questions you want to throw at us during the show, please go ahead and do that. It's been a strange year, I know, for everybody. A lot of businesses, as we were affected by the first lockdown last March. And then I think as the last year has gone, a lot of people have pivoted and taken digitally far more seriously. In fact, I think probably the last 12 months has seen a greater leap in digital adoption than at any other time. I mean, digital transformation has been going on for years. A lot of companies have been doing it at different paces. But I think the last year, we've really seen a lot of even traditional businesses being forced online, forced to have Zoom meetings with clients, forced to market far more through digital and social media platforms to get their website into the sort of condition that is going to actually convert visitors into leads in their CRM, start using CRMs. Really embracing all areas of digital has been a massive transition over the last 12 months, and faster than any other time. I think 12 months ago, a lot of businesses were digital ready, and then a lot moved into being digital first as the year progressed. And now I can see a lot of businesses in many sectors are focusing solely on digital. So they're digital only. So we've done all that within 12 months, whereas before, as I say, it was taking 5 to 10 years for many businesses. And this is across all sectors as well. This is B2B, this is B2C, non-profits, charities, obviously a lot of events, again, are being run online. So it really has been a transition. And hopefully, those are the questions that we're going to get thrown at us in these events and these live shows. We're planning one a month at the moment. We've also been asked, as people have been submitting questions for the event, we've been asked if we can actually have a HubSpot specific live show. So we may do a 30-minute HubSpot show once a month as well in the future if the demand's there. And again, really what we've always said from the start is we want this to be driven by you. So whatever you want to see, whatever questions you want asking, whatever guests you'd like us to bring onto the show, then let us know. Just keep in touch with us. DM me on LinkedIn. Send us a message to support@Digital Media Edge. There's multiple ways to get in touch with us. Tell us what you want to see from the show, and we'll happily provide the content that you want to see. So initially we thought answer questions, and we've certainly had some interesting questions come in. Can everybody hear me? If people can start using the chat bot, let's have a look on LinkedIn. Can you just say in chat on LinkedIn or anywhere you can ask a question, just so I can see where we're going to hear the questions from. Let's see if I can see anything. I can see who's joined us. We've got Russell on. We've got Paul. Nice to see you, Paul. We've got Steve. We've got Gary Davis at the moment. As I say, ask any questions you want as we go through this. I'll also, as I say, I've had questions sent in. So let's get started with those. The first question that someone sent in, and I suppose it's something that we don't cover enough of, is what is inbound marketing? And specifically with a B2B business, we hear this a lot from clients initially, and they say inbound marketing doesn't work in our industry. It's something we hear a lot. And then when we start exploring what their growth goals are, start looking at how they're generating leads, it's a very traditional process that they're going through. And they see actually that inbound marketing is a great way of qualifying leads, of engaging with people and connecting with people initially, and then starting these conversations very naturally. So attracting the right type of person. So I'll share my screen quickly with you, and then I'll go through answering that question first. What is inbound marketing? And just differentiating how it changes, because that has been the big change this year. As I say, a lot of traditional companies who were still relying on an outbound approach are now embracing inbound, embracing how that they connect and engage with people on social media in the right way. It's not a spam approach where they're just sending out emails to thousands of people anymore, hoping they get business back. It's very much a targeted understanding who their buyers are, where the main segmenting their customers into revenue generating, seeing what segments generating the most revenue for their business, and then focusing on getting in front of more of those people. And that's where inbound really is stronger than any other approach that I've seen to marketing. So let me just share this slide with you. If we can do that, let me just share. It might not be letting me share that. Anyway, the slide I was going to share with you was really inbound versus outbound. And the way I equate it when I talk to anybody about the two approaches is that inbound is all about attracting people, so pulling people in. Whereas outbound was very much a broadcast mentality. We'd talk at people. We'd have a big marketing budget that was aimed solely at getting the message out there to as many people as possible. And it really is interrupting people. Whereas I think inbound is very much complementing where they are in the buyer's journey, providing relevant, timely content to them, something that's very in context with where they are in their decision-making process, and adding and helping with insights and with valuable content to help them make the right decision for them. So whether they're very early on in the buying process or they're further down and they're looking at 2 or 3 companies, it's using content in the right way. Obviously, there's SEO involved in that. There's how you optimize your website as well to be an inbound lead generation machine. But the core difference between the two, I always feel, is one's very broadcasty, so it's like having a megaphone and just shouting at as many people as possible. And inbound is very much aligning how modern buyers research and buy products with how you market and sell to those people. So that's really how I differentiate it. Now, when people say it doesn't work, it's often because they're heavily entrenched. They've always generated business through outbound sources. So they've always had a marketing budget each year, and they've spent it on trade shows, which obviously at the moment aren't happening. So digital sources, they've relied then on email marketing to lists. They've bought lists of people in a sector, and then they've just blasted that list until they get some sort of traction. And again, this to me is becoming more and more expensive, because these people can, and I certainly can, you can block people off. If people annoy you, you just unfollow them, you unconnect with them on social media, you basically block them or unsubscribe from their email lists. There's multiple ways to stop that broadcast mentality, which to me is why it's becoming less and less effective. Yes, there'll always be times where offline will work. Leaflet drops we were talking about last week in a peer-to-peer network. And I think in certain local businesses, a leaflet drop can still work for you. But again, it's got to be pushing people towards your digital platforms, sending people to the website or a landing page on the website, giving them value, starting to build a relationship, and then getting them in your CRM. So getting that relationship that you can then nurture as they become a lead with you. You nurture that relationship till they become a customer. So I think while the lead source may be offline, I think we're still driving them online. So the other side is obviously that inbound is a great way of targeting good fit buyers. So you're not targeting everybody out there as you would with a broadcast mentality. You're having a highly targeted approach to a set sector or a set niche that you're trying to target. So certainly in B2B, most industries will have a sector where the majority of their focus for marketing and lead generation is going at. Now, within that sector, there'll be certain size companies that you'll be able to identify, and certain people within that company that you know you need around the table when you're discussing your solution, your product, or your service. So again, inbound is far better at highly targeted messaging to those people, understanding who they are, what are the questions those people ask, and then providing content as they go along their buyer's journey to support their decision making, give them the content they need to make the right decision. So that to me is why inbound works in every industry. There's not an industry I've come across, B2B or B2C, where you cannot embrace the mentality, because all you're really doing, as I said earlier, is aligning how you market and sell with how that buyer wants to buy and how we feel comfortable doing our own research before we ever reach out and speak to a salesperson now. So that's my my sort of breakdown of why inbound is better than outbound and how inbound can be used. I haven't really gone into inbound tactics in this. Obviously, there's space for that, looking at how to use content, how to use SEO strategies, how to use paid ad campaigns to drive traffic through conversion funnels. There's lots of elements to talk about. I just wanted to have a look at the overall and really answer that question, how inbound marketing can be used in a B2B setting, because I think a lot of people think, oh, content and everything's really B2C, you know, it wouldn't work for us in our industry. It does, it's just a change in mentality. And I think the last year has really driven that change in mentality as well. Okay, so that was the first question I wanted to address. The second question has come from Richard Warlow at Declaration. Thank you, Richard, for this question. And he's asking, what are pillar pages and content clusters? And why have they become the latest must-have in the marketer's toolbox? I don't know if they become the latest must-have. I think you have to have it, because as Google has developed its algorithm over the years, the traditional way of ranking in search engines, the SEO work we used to do, just isn't working anymore. So when you build any site out now, and if you do any Google search, you'll see that this plays out. It really is the returns on those searches, organic search I'm talking about here, not paid searches. Any organic search you do now will return a big piece of content. There'll be a snippet of content, which is the authority piece of content. And then the other returns as well should be authority piece of content, very relevant to what you've just searched. And this has been brought about through the different algorithm changes over the years, where we used to be judged on the on-page SEO and off-page SEO, such as how many backlinks our website had, how many backlinks our page had. Google quickly realized 5 years or so ago that this could easily be gamed, and people were just gaming the system, getting lots of spammy links back to a page to artificially rank it. So they've gone down the route now of ranking authoritative content. So a pillar page is really, that's what it is. It's your authoritative content on the topic that you know the most about. So at the heart of your business, there's a topic that you know the most about, you want to be ranking for. So when people are searching for you, you start to show up, your website start to be in ranking in the search results. And also your blog posts want to be ranked in there as well. So really a pillar content is that core topic that you're the authority on. So it's probably a 4,000 to 5,000 word page on your website, and it's going to be, for Richard, for instance, he's in marketing communications. He works in very specific sectors of electrical engineering companies, and so he really wants to be having a pillar page on marketing communications for electrical engineering companies. So that's what he wants to rank for. But then within that, he'll have lots of topic clusters. So there'll be, within that main topic, there'll be subtopics that he's going to cover on the main page, but also will become topics of their own that he'll write about on his blog. He'll record videos about them. There'll be landing pages about them. And these will be all the elements that make up the main topic. Now, the way it's structured on a website is you'd have your pillar page as your main page, and then you'd have your topic clusters around that. So you'd have blog posts, and the way we do it would be very much keyword driven. So there'd be the main keyword we want to rank for, which would be our pillar page. That's what we're optimizing on that page for. And then there'd be the other keywords around this, so subtopic keywords. So for us, inbound marketing, for instance, we have a pillar page on our website all around inbound marketing. And then we have a blog post on what is inbound marketing. So that points back to that pillar page, and on there we do talk about what is inbound marketing, but we also go into it in more detail in a blog post, which then points back. So it's giving us a backlink about what is inbound marketing back to our pillar page. So we're certainly not filling, because we want to rank our pillar page, we're certainly not filling our pillar page with lots of links. I think the main things you'd be doing would be some authoritative links. So if you wanted to link out some authoritative pieces off your pillar page, that would definitely be a bonus. You'd want embedded content in there, make it very interesting. And the key with a pillar page is once you've written it, it's very easy to turn into a conversion offer. So as people start reading the first few paragraphs of your pillar page, you could have then a call to action saying, why not download our guide to inbound marketing? So they don't have to read the whole page. They can now download a guide. And obviously that's a conversion point. Give you their name and email address. They can then download that guide. And then they've got two options. They can continue reading, or they've actually got a lot of the information within a guide for themselves. Or it may be a video series, or it may be a checklist that you offer them, depending where they are in the journey and what content they're consuming at the time. So that's very much the pillar page. As I say, the subtopics are all the other keywords around your core topic keyword. So these are all your supportive keywords. And we'd usually say that you'll have one keyword that you're ranking your pillar page for, and then probably 10 to 12 subtopic keywords around that. So what is inbound marketing, inbound sales, all the different elements of inbound could be on our inbound page, but then we break them up into those keywords for those subtopics. We'd also use videos in there. We'd have YouTube videos about that content, or that, so we can rank the YouTube video as well as the blog post. A lot of these links, as I say, will be going back to the pillar page. So it's building up all this interlinked content on your website that is positioning you as the authority. And then there's still ways of generating external links back into your pillar page. There's lots of different ways to develop your SEO, but it's getting the initial infrastructure right on your website. And as you're building out websites, modern websites, we'd be having 2 or 3 pillar pages at the heart of the content, and then breaking them down into pieces of content for conversion. So hopefully that explains that, Richard. It's something, as I say, we talk about a lot with clients now, certainly as we're helping them develop where they are now to where they want to be website traffic wise. Organic traffic is going to be a core element of that, as people search things on YouTube, search on social media, and they search on Google. They're going to be finding your content come up for them. But we know this is a long game. This is 6 to 12 months to start ranking a lot of this content and generate significant organic traffic. We can have paid campaigns in the meantime, driving traffic to that pillar page. There's multiple ways to drive traffic in the short term, but the long-term game is to get more and more free organic traffic coming through from social media and from search engines. So again, that's where we'd use pillar content and topic clusters throughout sites, and as we're developing out a content strategy that's very keyword focused. Okay, so that's question number 2. Now, Amy Peters from Beneficial Trust and Wills, I was talking to Amy this morning, actually. She sent in a question for us to answer about personalizing relationships. How can I personalize my relationships with new customers? It's a great question, Amy. And I think we all respond now to that personal touch when we're engaging online with people. We don't know people's sites, so the more personal, and I think by being contextual as well. But I would say the personal side and the personalization of content, and the fact that somebody understands the journey we're going on, is how we build this relationship. So we would certainly initially giving them content. Content is the key to this. Very personal content for where they are in their decision-making process at the moment, or that buyer's journey we talk about. Obviously, understanding that buyer persona. It's something we talk a lot about, not just doing the initial work on a buyer persona and saying, right, that's the job done. It's actually maturing that buyer persona, that person, and understanding exactly what their drivers are. What are their pain points? What are the challenges they're facing? Where do they go and consume? Where's their resources that they use to get information and to find out information? By understanding us as buyers, companies can really personalize that buyer's journey. So it's breaking down who the buyer is, first of all, so understanding that buyer persona, and then what's the journey they go on. So when someone's buying our product, our service or solution from us, what are the initial stages that they go through? You know, what are the things that first maybe make them aware they have a challenge that they want to solve that we can help them solve? And what are some of the questions they ask? Again, questions and listening to those questions is key to personalizing content, isn't it? The more it talks to you as a person, seems to understand who you are, the more emotionally you get attached to it. And on the emotional side, I think we still buy off people, even though we're online, people still buy off people that they connect with. So get that connection first of all, and then personalize it. So really show you understand someone, the challenges, the questions that they're asking, answer those questions, be very contextual with your answers. Relevant and timely, again, is the key there, because that's really giving them the right information at the right time. But also share your story. I think a lot of companies, in their search to be very digital, they start losing their own personal story. And I think sharing that story, and I think Ash talks a lot about this in his videos from Wallbreaker, is about this story branding and telling your story to really connect with people, because that's how we'll make a decision. If we're down to 2 or 3 people that can offer a very similar service, it'll be the value someone gives us, how much relevant content they've shared with us, and how much I connect and I align with their culture and their story of them as a business. So again, that's very important, and certainly in your business, Amy, I think wills, trust, probate, it's all something where we want to trust someone to put their arm around us and show us how to achieve the security we want to and how to plan forward. So relationships are huge there, and I can see why you asked that question, because in digital, it's not the same as meeting someone face to face. It's not the same as someone coming to your office, where you get that personal relationship more or less straight away in the first 5 minutes. We have to earn that trust, and it's very much about earning that trust and building our authority. But also, you can use automation to personalize these things. I mean, I don't just mean saying first name in an email when you send it to someone, but also, as I say, by segmenting that audience into different segments in your CRM, you can keep them very personal, and the message that's going out from you very personal. You know, there won't be a message that comes to them that they think, well, that's nothing to do with me, which is only going to damage reputation then. So hopefully that answers that question. Have we got any other questions coming through? I'll just have a quick check on LinkedIn, see if I can see any other questions coming through. I can't see much on chat at the moment. So I'll just go back to here, other things that have come in to us. Now, someone was asking me about strategy and planning out their growth strategy. It's something I try and get people focused on very early on in the piece so that they're aligning it. And the question was, how do they focus on the right jobs to do in their strategy at the right time, because they're getting very overwhelmed with all the things that they have to do. And I think that's a pretty common thing, really, because you can stay very busy with digital and developing your growth strategy without getting the actual effect you need. So my view always is to go back to your financial growth goal. So be very specific with what you're trying to achieve in the next 12 months. Get yourselves an actual specific figure. So if it's we want to get to 250,000, we want to get to 300,000 turnover, you know, where are you now? Where's your turnover now? So if you're at 150,000, so you need to make net new revenue of 100,000. So get yourself a specific goal for the next 12 months, and then start breaking that down into the key metrics you have to measure to reach that goal. So to make that goal attainable, how many customers does that equate to? So if you've got to generate 150,000, and you need to know how many customers that will equate to, or how many orders. It may be some customers in your business will order multiple times over the year. So how many orders do we need to make that 150,000 net new revenue? So that's net new customers on top of what you've got already. Then go back again, and that'll be really determined by your average order value, won't it? So if we were talking about going through our existing customers, auditing the orders that we're getting at the moment, you'll be able to, especially if you're segmenting your audiences in a CRM, you'll be able to see which segment of your audience and your customer base is giving you your best return. So where's the most money coming from? And there's always a standout segment for everybody. And again, back to understanding that segment more. And then what's the average order value? And you may have different average order values across segments. I was talking to a company the other day, and they had £1,500 as an order at one end of the scale, and they had 250,000 at the other end of the scale. So one was large corporates and one was far smaller businesses that they dealt with. So again, by segmenting those, we got into the conversation of, right, how many large corporates new orders are we going to generate in the next 12 months? And what's the opportunity there? What sector are we targeting? What size business do we need to target? Who do we need to target within those companies? What are the companies? Let's make a company list of the 200 companies in that sector of that size that we're targeting. So that was very specific. Then at the other end, there was the 1,500. Now, obviously, to get a £1 million turnover as he wanted to increase by, he had to focus on the heavier stuff, on the larger orders, which gave a longer sales cycle as well. It was natural that they would have a 6-month to a 12-month sales cycle, so we had to take that into account. And then the £1,500 orders, how are we doing that more as a volume product, so and a volume lead generation? So this was conversations that you need to do, and they're all driven are these by having specific goals you're aiming for. So how much is your specific overall revenue goal? How many orders do you need to hit that revenue goal? And then you go through your sales process. So in your sales process, how many leads do I need to convert into customers? So what's the conversion rate we have at the moment through our sales process in our business? Is it 1 in 4? Is it 20%, 1 in 5? So if we know we've got a 1 in 5 conversion rate, then we'll be able to say we need this many orders, which means we need this many leads to be generated in a 1 in 5. And of course, that conversion, that sales conversion rate, is something that you have control of. You can improve that and optimize that at each stage. So by breaking down sales metrics within your sales process, you'll be able to improve that from 1 in 5 to 1 in 4, which means then you need less leads. Again, marketing at the other end of the scale have said, we need to generate 600 leads over the next 12 months. And this is the quality of lead we need to generate. And by giving a higher quality lead or a good fit lead, and sales are only spending their time talking to good fit leads and not everybody out there, again, you're going to increase that conversion rate, which means you need to generate less leads, but it's all connected to that overall revenue goal. And that's the key thing here. Marketing and sales teams must now be aligned, plus the management, plus operations, plus service and support. Everyone should be aligned around your revenue goal. So let that be the driver on the work you need to be working on in your strategy. First of all, I would say that's your starting point, is getting 7 or 8 key metrics that go end to end on the customer journey, and also end to end that you can measure, from website traffic coming in and lead sources coming in, how much traffic you need to generate, how you can convert that traffic into leads in the CRM, how many of those leads then you need to nurture into customers, how many of those customers need to spend X as your average order value to get to your goal. Break it down into those milestones, and that'll give you an end-to-end strategy. The next step is to go to each of those parts. So we talked about sales process, so look at your sales process in detail. And in our 90-day program, whenever we're working with a customer, we get a system set up first, and then we go straight to the sales process. Because before we start any activity in the marketing side, any lead generation or increasing traffic through a website, we want to make sure that the sales team will convert at a set through a set process, and it's very predictable. So if I feed leads in the front end, I know they come out with this many orders at the back end. So once we get to that stage, and that usually is by breaking the sales process down into 2 or 3 steps, rather than having a one-hit step, we break it down into how they follow up, how they have an initial contact with a lead, and then how they have follow-up meetings with leads then before they get to a solution presentation. Or some sort of pitch at the end of it, where they're actually talking to the client about buying, and there's a decision-making process going on there. So again, just breaking that process down is something we focus on now, which we never used to do. But we know before we start doing the front-end work, we need to get that part right. Because once that converts, once conversion's right throughout this process, then everything else can be affected by adding volume at the front end. And there's multiple ways to add volume of traffic and leads to the front end of a process. So if that's been useful for you, then is where I would start my focus on, is what are my revenue goals, and then break it down into 7 or 8 key metrics and set a dashboard up somewhere in your system that's measuring that you can nearly check weekly, daily. You can nearly have a live report back to yourself on what's working and what isn't working. So those are the key elements, because you need to find out throughout this whole process where your roadblocks are. And actually, if you can see the diagram behind me, this is where I've mapped everything out for ourselves, right from traffic sources through landing pages, thank you pages, through setting up custom audiences. And you can see it's all built around a CRM. So we're getting reporting back at a contact level and a company level back to us on what's working. Then we've got all our email follow-up. So we've got conversion points throughout all of our email follow-up. So there's 7 or 8 emails in a sequence to follow up. And then we go into the sales process. So initial meeting, longer exploratory call, solution presentation, and then we've got down here customer service, the different products that we're offering, an upsell, a cross-sell, all of these elements that are very much customer marketing based. So how do we, the best client we ever have is going to be the customer that we have at the moment, because we've spent the cost of customer acquisition already. So how do we understand how we cross-sell and upsell to those people? How do we get referrals from those happy customers? All of this should be connected around your revenue goal. So suddenly you break your revenue goal down into these elements, and you can start to see these are the opportunities we need to focus on now. This is what we need to be measuring and getting right. You know, once we have a sequence of emails, that's what we need to be focusing on, those conversion statistics that you should be generating from everything. So that would drive my workload. And certainly when I look at helping a client and I'm looking at their strategy, it's always the initial conversation is very specific around financial goals. And then what those financial goals equate to in number of customers, number of leads, how can the website convert better so that the traffic we send there is converting. And then that will drive the targeting. That will drive your other work in your strategy. So as you're mapping your strategy out now from a marketing point of view, as I said in my answering the last question, I would be then saying, right, so where are these good fit customers? What sectors are they in? How many companies are in that sector? What people do we need to be in front of? And that will then drive, once I know I need to be in front of FDs, or I need to be in front of the business owner of a certain size company, or maybe it's the marketing director or the sales director, operations, you know, whenever you've identified your core buyer personas, that will then drive your content strategy. So as you're in your growth strategy saying, right, what's my content strategy? This is our target audience. This is how we need to position our business in front of that target audience. And again, business positioning and offer positioning is something that is really core that everybody should start thinking about. You know, don't try and pitch to everybody on your website. Don't sell everything to everybody that you do. Really be focused on who you're targeting at, and then make sure your website content, your offer positioning, everything is aligned to that person, because that's a key to getting the strategy right and making sure that it works very quickly for you. So make sure that you do that, work on your positioning, the business positioning first, and then the offer positioning after that. So are we targeting when somebody of this buyer persona lands on the website or lands on this landing page, is it specific to them, relevant to them? So that's a key thing to think about. That will drive your content strategy, as I say. Your content strategy will then drive your pillar content. Your blog content will be driven from that knowledge. Your keywords research you're doing. So what keywords is that person searching? What questions are they asking? Where are they asking them? So that will drive your social media strategy as well. You know, where do these people engage the most on social media? So if you're in B2B, you know, I was talking to a company the other day in a B2B sector, and they'd spent money on on Facebook ads, and I was saying, well, who were you targeting on Facebook? And it was such a broad generic targeting that there was no wonder it hadn't worked. So again, with LinkedIn, with the way you can use LinkedIn to engage with decision makers, really spark conversations, as I say, not selling to them. There's nothing worse than having a LinkedIn connection request, and then the first message that comes through to you is a long sales pitch. And again, you know, just be interested. These are your buyer personas that you've researched. These are the type of people you need to be talking to. So ask them how business is going, you know, get general conversations going with them, engage with their content before you even send a connection request, so that you are actually paying forward and giving value first. And then you'll find that your connection requests go way up. People accept far more question requests if you've commented on their posts, or you've shared a post for them. or engaged with them some way before you actually send a connection request. So again, there's multiple ways to attract these people, but that's all driven by understanding who they are, where they are, and this is again going back to where you're focusing your efforts as your time goes by and you're developing your growth strategy. And this can often take 4 to 6 weeks. When I'm working on a growth strategy with the client, we're working on every element of this so that we have it not just documented down in a 40-50 page document that we're working on, but we have it actually mirrored into metrics and dashboards so that each area of this is being measured. So the social media platform we've identified, are we measuring all the engagement on there? You know, how many contacts are we actually generating in our CRM from that lead source? So all of this is connected. So you need to go through it. Don't get overwhelmed. Start as your revenue goals, then move on to your personas, what journey they go on, those people. That will then drive the content. It'll drive your social media strategy as well. It'll also drive your conversation strategy. So how do you use a chatbot on your website to engage with people that visit? How do you use landing pages? Do they like to communicate with you through Messenger on social media? You know, maybe that's one of their preferred platforms is to message you through social media messaging on LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger if you're B2C. Maybe they like just to email still. There's a lot of people just still like to email you. So again, make sure your conversation strategy is thought out into how the buyer wants to contact you, not how you want to make it available. Just think through that buyer persona and how best to communicate with them. Make it as easy as possible. And that probably goes back to Amy's point about personalizing things. If someone's thought of you and thought of how you want to communicate with them, again, you're more likely to engage with that person. So again, that's all the elements. And then obviously your metrics at the end of this, the system that you adopt, it's all going to be driven by the early part of your growth strategy. So building a system is key. You know, a CRM, as I say, it should be the minimum, but you should have marketing tools, sales tools, operational tools. Your accounting should all be fed through. So, you know, revenue generated, and you can be segmenting that, as I discussed earlier. So all of this is driven really through that growth strategy. So don't get overwhelmed. Take it week by week and work on each of the elements. There's about 12 elements, and we cover it in our website. There's blog posts on the website that go through how to map this out. I've done some videos as well on the YouTube channel. And all of this will help you just do it week by week and get that in place. And then once your strategy is in place, your tactics should be fairly obvious to you. The tactics that you need to execute and implement on a daily basis should be driven by that strategy, you know, because it's all driven by your revenue goal, remember. So you shouldn't be really producing any content that isn't required by your strategy, isn't a question you're answering for your target audience, isn't a case study, isn't a testimonial, isn't a video. You know, all of these things are driven by that person. So everything, I think, should be there for a reason. There should be nothing you're doing and staying busy with. Everything should be there for a reason towards that revenue goal. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Have we any other questions? I can't see any other questions coming in at the moment. Let me just check on Twitter. Okay, so hopefully that helps. That's YouTube. Thank you, Amy. I see you're watching on YouTube. Hopefully that answered your question. Right, I think that's everything, the questions to cover in this show. If anyone has any other questions that you want in the next show, it's going to be Wednesday, the 24th of March at 12 o'clock. We're going to have our next live show then. I have got a guest lined up for that show as well. So it's certainly a show you're going to want to be on because he's one of the directors of HubSpot, and he's agreed to come on the show for us to answer any questions that you may have about HubSpot, but anything in general around digital. So I will speak to you and let you know more about who's coming on the show on the 24th. Can you, everyone, make sure they subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, because as Amy can see, it's an easy way to watch this if you're not on LinkedIn. So it'd be really appreciated if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. And anyone who hasn't gone through the business, the Ignite, I'm just going to try and find you a link for it. There you go. Through the masterclass, the Grow Your Leads and Revenue Masterclass for this year. We launched it in January, and you can see the link here. I will put it in the post on LinkedIn as well, below the video, and also in the comments on YouTube. I'll put a link to it there. I know quite a lot of you have signed up over the last couple of weeks, and I think everybody on the call, actually looking at the call, yeah, nearly everybody is. But anyone who hasn't signed up yet, it's a free 6-video masterclass, and I think you'll find it really interesting. It covers in more detail some of the areas we've talked about today. So look forward to seeing you on the 24th. Email over any questions to support at or Richard at Digital Media Edge, or DM them through on LinkedIn. As I say, we'll happily get them ready. And we'll also have a live guest as well on the next show. All right, guys, thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye now.